So, hello friends. Today we talk about what is pivot point and what is transverse thrust. Okay, let's assume this is our ship. Okay, and what happen when we give a hard starboard rudder? The ship will turn like this. Okay. So during the turning, the ship's direction sometimes like this. The heading will be the head of the ship will be inner towards inside the circle, and the stern will be outside. So this circle will be if you look at the circle, this circle will be passing through a particular point in ship. Okay, so that point is called pivot point. So in simple way, it is the point about which ship turn when rudder angle is given. Okay, so this pivot point determines what will be the path of the ship. So that is called the pivot point. So every ship has a pivot point. Okay, so but this pivot point is not a stationary point. It can shift to forward or aft. When the ship is stopped with zero speed, the pivot point will be at the center of the ship. So as soon as we give a head movement, when we give an ahead movement, the pivot point will shift towards the forward. Okay, the position of the pivot point will be somewhere here. That length will be 1 divided by 8 into length of the ship. If you measure this much distance from the forward, okay, you will get a point. That is the place where pivot point when the ship is moving forward. As soon as you give a head movement, okay, P1 forward, pivot point 1 forward. Okay, so as then the slowly the speed pickups and the speed will be steadied. So during that time this pivot point will shift little bit aft. Okay, so that distance will be around 1/4 the length of the ship. Okay, 1/4 the length of the ship, that we can call it as pivot point to forward. So basic funda is, whenever a ship is moving, the pivot point of the ship will be forward of the midship. Okay, so if the speed is steady, then pivot point will settle at a point 1/4 the length of the ship from the forward. If whenever the starting of the forward movement, it will be some extreme forward around 1/8 the length of the ship. So if this is one case when the ship is moving forward direction. When the ship is moving aft direction, ship is moving in aft direction. Okay, so we have to give a stern moment. Okay, so from at zero speed, this is the pivot point. As soon as the vessel has given a stern moment, the pivot point will jump from this point to an aft position. That position will be similar to this length, 1/8 length of the ship measured from the aft. There will be the position of the pivot point. When the aft stern speed is almost settled, then from this position this pivot point will jump to another point. That will be similar to this one, 1/4 length from the aft. Okay, so when the ship is having constant headway or constant sternway, the length of the pivot point will be 1/4. Okay, and just moving ahead 1/8. This is pivot point. Okay, now we will talk about what is transverse thrust. Now, whenever we give a propeller movement, what will happen? This is our ship. For example, a clockwise propeller, that means a propeller will turn like this, right? So, what will happen when you give a head movement? The propeller will rotate. Initially, what will happen? The propeller will take water from this side because the blade of the propeller is turning in this clockwise direction to take the water from this direction and throw it to this side, throw it to this side, and throw it to this side, throw it to this side. Okay, this will be an initially what is happening at the when we given a head movement. So what will happen here? Now the propeller is throwing water at port side. You can say this as helical discharge. What is meant helical? Due to the turning movement of the propeller, it is the centrifugal force is throwing the water towards this side. So then what will happen? There will be an opposite force acting towards the ship at this point, at this stern. So when the stern, if the force is acting at this side, the stern will move towards this side. Okay, the stern will move towards starboard. Okay, the water is throwing at the port side, so repulsive force, reactive force will be coming. The stern will move to starboard. If the stern is moving to starboard, obviously the bow will move to port. Okay, bow to stern to starboard. Okay, so clockwise direction. Okay, this is in clockwise direction. Now what happened when the ship is given an stern command? So propeller will rotate in the opposite direction, anti-clockwise. Instead of throwing water here, the water will be throwing like this, right? So what will happen? The reactive force will act like this. The vessel, this stern will be pushed towards port side. Okay. So eventually, if the stern is coming like this, the bow has to come to starboard. Okay, so due to a head and a stern movement of the propeller, or clockwise and anti-clockwise movement of the propeller, rotation of the propeller, and the helical discharge of water, the ship's bow will move to port side or starboard side. Okay, this movement of bow to port and starboard side is called transverse thrust. Okay, I hope you guys understood. This is a condition for right-handed hand propeller. Okay, so what will happen when the propeller is left-handed. That means for a head movement the vessel's propeller will rotate in anti-clockwise direction. So if you switch, if it will be exactly opposite to each other. Okay, that means for a head movement the propeller will rotate in clockwise, anti-clockwise direction. So this is an anti-clockwise direction. I am trying to explain you both the situation, right-handed and left-handed. In right hand left hand propeller in the same diagram. So in case of left hand propeller, for getting a head movement, the propeller will turn in anti-clockwise direction. So anti-clockwise direction, water will go like this, and bow will be coming like this, and stern will be coming like this, and bow will be coming to starboard. So in left-handed propeller, for a stern movement, the propeller will be turning in clockwise direction. So the propeller wash will be like this. The stern will go to starboard, bow to port. So I will make a table here only. Let's say a head, a stern. Okay. And left-handed propeller, right-handed propeller. Okay. So in left-handed propeller, for a head movement, the propeller has to turn anti-clockwise direction, and the discharge will be like this. The stern will go to the port side and bow to starboard. Okay, so bow to starboard. Okay. In left-handed propeller, for a stern movement, propeller will rotate in clockwise direction. Water discharge will be like this, and the stern will go to starboard. Bow will be going to port. Okay. So opposite of these things will be for right-handed. In right-handed, bow to port, bow to starboard. Okay guys, this is the only thing you have to remember, or either you just remember any one thing. Normally all the ships are having right-handed propeller, so you just have to remember one thing. In a right-handed propeller, if you give a head movement, the bow will go to port. That's the only thing you have to remember. If the bow is going to, at a head movement, the bow is going to port and right hand propeller, obviously at a stern movement it will go to starboard. Okay, so the vice versa will be for left-handed propeller. So remember, right-handed propeller, a head movement, bow to port. Remember this only. Okay, thank you.